82, huh? 82, huh? Tuco's beside me. So he's so nice to stroke now. He's so soft because he had his hair cut. Ooh. I think today is the 25th, but it might be the 26th. It's a Tuesday. So Tuesday, 25th, 26th. I guess you can check it up. You can check it up afterward on the calendar. I'm pretty sure I want to say the 25th. And I'm bringing Tuco for a walk. It is a Tuesday evening. It's 15 minutes past 7 o'clock in the evening. And I'm sitting on the rock at the bridge side of the river, a place where we sit occasionally. This little rock here. I put my camera over there before, behind in the bush. Flo is doing a class at the moment. It's a Tuesday class at 7 o'clock. And so me and Tuco are going to try and stay out till she finishes, which will be 8 o'clock. Some details of the day. Earlier today, Flo went to the doctor with all her x-rays and scans of her knees. And that was all a little disappointing because the doctor seemed to be a bit of an asshole, as they can be, like the dentists. Just business, and it's terrifying that you get people involved in these services, health businesses that are not always the nicest people, because they're so important to the individual. A doctor like that meeting Flo, a kind word from him, just something positive, just to give a little bit of hope, would have meant the world, people in that position. But he just seemed to flick through all the pictures, and from what I gather, he just more or less said, yeah, that's aging, premenopause, blah blah blah, nothing you can do about that. Here, go to the chemist, buy these supports, these kind of cotton supports you can wrap around your knees, and yeah, goodbye. Just a lack of any kind of empathy for someone who is, after all, just about to turn 50 and maybe suffering from people that are normally a good 10 years more. I tried to listen, be a comfort, but there was not much I could get my head around doing, because I know that would kind of affect me as well. And there's nothing much another person can do, I just said maybe you should get a second opinion, because I was under the impression that there's all kinds of things can be done. Is that you? You bored? Do you want to keep going? Do you want to keep going? Want to find the rabbits? The lapa? Allez! Let's keep moving now. Move from a rock. I'm going to go back over here. It could rain or anything. It's been a really, really warm, sunny day. And it's just changed now. The clouds coming, it might rain. I don't care if it does, to be honest. It could spill down on me. I couldn't care less right now. It'll match my mood. So let's a few more details about the day, because I think that's something to look back on. I walked into the Connemara and we just painted the bar section, which looks nice and tidy, and I put back all the actors' pictures on the walls. That was my job. I think I did it pretty well. We finished the painting, and it's we're ready to go. I have to make a list of what we're going to need to order on, I don't know, Thursday maybe, if we're opening next Monday or Tuesday. Flo's already in a bit of a, these things need to be done quickly. But it's no problem doing that, it's easy. I made a big kind of a deal about it, saying, I have to take everything out of the fridge, and Flo said, when she thought about it after, that was kind of idiotic of me to say something stupid as, you have to take everything out of the fridge? And I had to agree with her, thinking about it. I just thought my response was really stupid. And my response to a lot of things is pretty stupid. I'm trying to say to Flo the other day that I didn't really want to meet with her, with the couple, because I just had a feeling that, well, the woman going on about cooking and stuff, just boring. But I let you go like a bit of an idiot again. I kind of said something like, maybe I'd be better off, I might have more in common with younger people rather than older people. Goodbye, Tuco. I think Tuco just wants to go home. I'm trying to keep him occupied. Can't go home yet, Tuco. Yeah, I've just been a bit of an asshole about that, I think. It's so hard to keep your mouth shut sometimes. But then there are other topics I don't want to get into now. I spoke to myself about them in depth. And I was thinking it would be nice to have a therapist to talk all this stuff to. Maybe they could make some more sense of it. This notion of should a person bite their lip and smile bravely and go and meet all these other people, even though secretly they just bore you and kind of mildly irritate you? But should you not, is it not your duty to go and let these people try and give you whatever they can in terms of their words, their philosophy? Or should one stick to one's principles? In my case, I don't suffer fools, or whatever it is, or not let go of the fact that, suppose I have interests that people are not going to be able to help me out with because they don't have the same interests, and is it possible that I can say something like, perhaps my awareness is a little more deep than a lot of people's, without sounding terribly what's the word? I don't know. Like a fucking cunt. I don't know what the word is. When you have to bring that up, is the thing to do never to say that and just adapt to everybody and accept certain things? Or should I be able to be free and open and say all these things to my wife? There's something about there's something about a certain type of rebelliousness that's good. A not following the herd, standing up for yourself, expecting more, continually expecting more out of people, out of life, out of discussions, out of meetings, out of everything, and not succumbing to some kind of drudgery, because it's mannerly to do so. It's like calling a spade, isn't it? It's like, so we've been with this person and we've been with these two people. Now, Flo, honestly, what did you think about the last 2 hours with that person? And Flo will be all polite and everything, but I'll be like, yeah, but honestly, if you're honest. And then some of the time she's like, yeah, they were boring me to tears. And I'm like, exactly. Now I got someone coming toward me, it's like a jogger. I wonder, could I pull Tuco off the track? Ah, too late. Tuco! 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 Stop, it's a jogger. It's a jogger. Ah. Stop. Let this poor man pass. You shall not pass, says Tuco. Yeah. Bonjour. Elderly guy. Good for him. Can't really get into all that stuff. It's just because I could go on and on for hours about it. You know, I sound like such an arrogant prick when I bring it up with Flo, because I don't really, as much as I fancy myself in terms of being able to express my ideas, a lot of the time when I'm trying to express them to Flo, I fall flat on my fucking ass and I just sound like a dickhead. And I don't mean to be. It's like, you know, you think there must be some eloquent way of saying I want to be true to myself and I want to be honest, and there's a certain kind of drama or a certain interest in stating the problem I have with being stimulated in an intellectual way by anybody. And it's a thing, it's an interesting part of my life here, that discussion. But to try and bring it up and to try and discuss it, of course, you know, as soon as you mention any difference, if I mention any difference between me and anybody else, it's kind of, it's not just Flo, I'm sure it would be like that. It's straight away construed as, fuck the arrogance of the guy. He doesn't even know these people. He doesn't even really know what interests they have or how deep they are. But he's so far up his own fucking asshole. He thinks he knows everything. And I don't. I'm very... I try and think of things from lots of different angles, you know. Anyway, things have been rough with me and the way I have been feeling lately. And irrational. There's been an irrational detestation of doing stuff in the Connemara. It's really ridiculous. Like I've just said about when Flo said you've got to make a list of what we need from Prano. She thinks she'd ask me to just paint the whole place again, you know. I don't know why I reacted like that. It was weird. And I felt really miserable. And when we did that walk the other day with those two people, when we were walking down to the church, Tuco, let's go this way. I felt fucking bad. And I was just saying earlier on, it's funny because when you feel bad, Tuco, you feel bad. But as soon as your mood starts to lift, it's like you can't really remember in any serious way what it was like to feel bad. It's like you can only feel bad when you feel bad. The memory of feeling bad is just, it's a pretty weak memory. You end up saying to yourself, I was irritated yesterday. But when you're going through it, it's a fucking hell of a lot more than just being irritated. I mean, it's just a feeling of, it's almost like physical. Like a physical kind of torment. But like I said, it lifts, and it can lift in a day or a minute, and then it's just, you know, it's gone completely. You don't, maybe that's a healthy thing to do. You don't think about it. But it's rough. The last few days have been rough. the lack of feelings or touch in the relationship with Flo. Just a lack of affection. And that makes me think that I'm not a great suitable person to be married at all, and that I'm not a good person. And then when you're seeing yourself in that light, it's not going to perk up your mood. You realize things about yourself. Yeah. What good do you do? So, I put everything, the pictures up. We're starting back next week, I think the 2nd of June, I don't know. We're going to see Flo's parents tomorrow, as far as I know, Wednesday. To be honest, I didn't really want to go. I was thinking I wouldn't mind spending those 3 days just, sitting in a corner and just kind of whinging to myself. I might have been able to get something out of my system if I just had 3 days alone to whine. But I don't have the heart to bring that up now and say I'd rather stay, because I think Flo would prefer me to go. Just, even it won't matter that I'm there, she's not going to be talking to me or anything, but I think somehow it's just nice to have the show of normality to everybody when we get there, and we can kind of pretend in some way that everything's fine. Jeez, I'd really like to, if someone asks you, how are things going, everything well? Be it Olivier or Amandine or whatever, Nico, you'd love to just go, no, actually, the last week has been fucking miserable. I'm having doubts about my life here. I'm having doubts about where I'm going. I'm wondering, is it going to be like this forever? Am I never going to be able to have a decent conversation with anybody again in English? Is that done for? And then when I think about that, I also think about my brother-in-law dying from motor neuron disease, and I feel like a fucking cunt because I've got nothing to worry about and I'm still whinging and bitching about things. So no, things aren't going too well. I'm very conflicted. I'm not serene. And then I haven't been attending meetings. I made a half-assed attempt to do one today, but I didn't attend it because Jody sent me a link, but I couldn't figure it out. And so maybe there is something to be said that the meetings are really important, whether you like them or not. Because the resentment and ill will or a certain irritation, all these things, they're certainly in me in a big way. Tuco, where did you go? I still don't have any interest in drinking. There's been no thoughts about that really at all. Just the thought of waking up in the morning is enough to put me off. Allez, Tuco! Wondering what I did. I don't want to get back there. I have no plan. There's no plan, and there's nothing to look forward to in the future. And again, saying this, thinking of my brother-in-law, makes me feel ashamed. It really does. It makes me feel ashamed. He was able to speak to me now. He'd say, Jesus, I'd look forward to, if I was like you, just being able to get up and go for a walk would be like the best right now. Just that would be incredible. Being able to sit down and feed myself, put the food in my own fucking mouth, that would be incredible. You don't need very much to make you happy. Yeah. To be fair to myself, these thoughts and these moods come and go, and sometimes even thinking of other people and their enormous problems compared to mine, it doesn't always help. You still gotta sleep in your own bed. And this lack of any kind of thing. But of course, like I've said a million times, a dark mood leads to dark thoughts. I think that's the first time I've said that, but I've said it in different ways. So a dark mood leads to dark thoughts. And so when you're in this mood, of course, everything is going to seem crap. The future, the past, I mean, everything is blanketed by this thing. So you just got to basically, as hard as it is, you've got to not believe yourself. You've got to say you're receiving false signals. This is the bad mood speaking, bad chemical compound speaking. It's going to throw everything in a bad light, show everything in a bad light. You have this same walk with these same topics on another day when you're in a good mood, everything would be perfect. You'd be delighted that you don't have any plans. You'd be thinking that's the way to go. No plans, I'm free as a friggin' bird. I'm walking, when I go home I'm going to eat. That's what more can a person want. Playing games. Go to bed tired, get up when I want. Perfect. Just the mood you're in decides and colours everything. Destroys your thinking. Hopefully it hits some kind of bottom and then I start to feel good for a longer period. I don't like when it gets into the heavy stuff, you know. When you start having questions on the whole point of anything. And you actually start thinking of how a bullet in the back of the head would maybe not be such a terrible thing. It would give you certainly would give you peace. Not that we really know too much about what happens. The spirit or the soul, when the body is finished, Nietzsche would say all of this stuff may just be byproducts of your digestion. And when your digestion and everything, well, that might still go on, so you may have something, but when all that's gone, there's nothing left. Nothing. Fake news all over the place. There isn't anywhere to turn for the truth anymore. One girl the other day, she said, "You just make things up now." She wasn't joking or being sarcastic. That was her way of being. She said, "You just make up the story as you go along. You believe whatever you want." And she means whatever you want. If you believe the coronavirus is a fake, you just believe it's a fake. If you believe we never went to the moon, it's fine. It's just your belief. It's perfectly okay. There is no truth. I don't like that. I like there to be certain things that are the gospel. Where are you, Tuco? There you are. Heading home. We're heading home. This has been another miserable vlog. Anyway, we're getting to the end of the lockdown. Well, as soon as I go back to work, I'll probably stop doing these. I have a feeling more of them than not are just depressing. So I'm going to switch off now. Don't think there's anything else to say. I am playing a lot of Red Dead Redemption over the last 2 or 3 days. We have moved to the house now, the place where me and Lenny killed about 100 guys, and then we moved in there, and we're also starting to spend a lot of time in St. Denis. We've met the Italian guy, and we're getting close, I think, now to getting on that ship and going off to the island bit, which I didn't really like. Maybe I'll like it more now. I'm trying to do some of the side missions and the quests and things, the stranger missions, and I really still have, that's one thing I do have an objective in, one thing I am planning for in the future, and that's to finish this game. I want to get to the end. I want to get to the whole John Marston bit, try and get through that. I hope, because I know the first time round I just lost the will to keep going with that game. It just got too boring, too slow. But with the mood I'm in this time around, maybe doing these very menial kind of tasks and jobs with John Marston will be what the doctor ordered. I'd like to get it finished. I'd like to kill Mika on top of that mountain. I'd like to hear the Red Dead Redemption 1 music kind of come up, and then I can just put the game away, and whenever I come back I can be John Marston again, and I can decide, well, everything's done now, and I'm gonna go around the map, and I can, just play it in a completely different way. And at least I can say, I finished it. Transport Fever, I'm on a game, but to be honest, the interest is slipping on that one. Because I think if you're in the humour, and each map is different, of course, but there is something of a sameness when you get down to the 1980s and 90s. There's something, even if you do very little, the whole thing seems to unwind pretty much the same way every time, except perhaps you won't get the skyscrapers, but it's just a case of how I feel from day to day. Maybe the interest will come back and I'll be like, yeah, I want to do lots and lots of stuff on this map, but at the moment I'm not really motivated. So yeah, that's all about that. So from me, it's over and out for now. We'll sign off. There'll be more of these come the end of this month. I don't know. I feel I'd like to stop and just draw a line under all this stuff, but we'll see. We'll see.